Welcome to another episode from Perfect English Podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to share with you a chapter from my online course, Perfect English Vocabulary Builder Level 1. You will learn about 10 key words in this chapter. I hope you find it useful. And before we jump right in, let me tell you that I have included a link in the description of this episode if you would like to check out the course on Udemy. Enjoy. Welcome to Perfect English Vocabulary Builder Level 1, Chapter 14. In this chapter, we're going to focus on the following 10 key words: transform, celestial, dumbfounded, deluge, manacle, constrain, meteoric, tint, serene, and empower. Let's start with the first key word, transform. We look at this picture and we can see 5 brightly colored cocoons, and for most people, they know that these cocoons are going to change into butterflies. Could this thing be the meaning of the word transform? Does it have to do with change? Let's find out. Now, transform is a verb, and to transform something into something else means to change or convert it into that thing. For example, your metabolic rate is the speed at which your body transforms food into energy. And synonyms for transform are the words change, convert, alter, and translate. And transformation is the noun from transform. For example, we can say Nora made plans for the transformation of an attic room into a study. And synonyms for transformation are the words change, conversion, alteration, and metamorphosis. But that's not all about transform. Now, to transform something or someone means to change them completely and suddenly so that they are much better or more attractive, just like our butterflies in the picture. For example, the high-speed rail link is transforming the area, or a cheap table can be transformed by an interesting cover. Now, synonyms for this meaning of transform are the words makeover, overhaul, revamp, or remake. And also transformation is the noun from this meaning. For example, in the last 5 years, he's undergone a personal transformation. When we see this, we know it's always for the better. And synonyms for this meaning of transformation are the words revolution, radical change, makeover, or sea change. So the next time you remember this image of those beautiful cocoons, which are going to change into butterflies, remember the word transform and what it means. And now let's move to the next key word, celestial. And we look at the picture and we can see a beautiful picture of the sky with those strange, beautiful colors showing at night. But what we care about here actually is the word celestial. What does celestial mean? Does it have to do with the beauty, or does it have to do with the sky? Or maybe both, who knows? Let's find out. Celestial is an adjective. Celestial is used to describe things relating to heaven or to the sky. And it is usually a literary word we use in literature most of the time, rather than we use in everyday language. For example, gravity governs the motions of celestial bodies. Or, in the process of their careful watching and recording the celestial movements, the Chinese provided valuable and interesting information for succeeding generations. Celestial can also be a graded adjective. If you describe something as celestial, you mean that it is wonderful. For example, a chocolate cake with an apricot filling and celestial effect on the taste buds. So the next time you remember this beautiful picture of the sky with all those beautiful colors, remember the word celestial and what it means. And now for the next key word, dumbfounded. Now you look at this picture and you can see this young man with his mouth wide open. From the expression, we can tell that he's seen something and he's so amazed by what he saw. So, could that be the meaning of dumbfounded? Taken by surprise or something? Let's find out. Dumbfounded is an adjective. And if you are dumbfounded, you are extremely surprised by something. Like this guy we saw in the picture. For example, we can say, I stood there dumbfounded, so surprised by whatever I saw. And the synonyms for dumbfounded are the words amazed, stunned, astonished, and confused. So the next time you remember this picture of this young man with his mouth wide open, remember the word dumbfounded and what it means. And now for the next key word, deluge, or in British English, deluge, but the same thing, the same meaning in both American and British English. We can see in the picture, we have water flooding into the land, and it is very deep already. We can tell from the pole that we can only see the top part of. So what does deluge mean? Is it related to the flood, to the pole, to disasters? Let's find out. Now, deluge is a countable noun, but we usually use it in singular form. A deluge of things is a large number of them which arrive or happen at the same time. For example, we can say a deluge of manuscripts began to arrive in the post, or this has brought a deluge of criticism, a large number, just like the flood. And deluge can also be used as a verb. If a place or person is deluged with things, a large number of them arrive or happen at the same time. For example, during 1933, Papin's office was deluged with complaints, and synonyms for this meaning of deluge as a verb are the words overwhelm, swamp, engulf, and overload. Now, deluge can also mean a flood, actually. A deluge is a sudden, very heavy fall of rain. For example, about a dozen homes were damaged in the deluge. And synonyms are obviously the words flood, spate, overflowing, and torrent. And this meaning of deluge can also be used as a verb. If rain deluges a place, it falls very heavily there, sometimes causing floods. But we usually use that in written English rather than in spoken English. For example, we say at least 150 people died after 2 days of torrential rain deluged the capital. So the next time you remember this picture of the flood, remember the word deluge and what it means. And now for the next key word, manacle. Now we can look at the picture and we can see right away that there is a policeman at work, and he's putting those handcuffs on the hands of some suspect or a criminal. But what does that have to do with the word manacle? Does it have to do with arresting somebody or with the handcuffs themselves? Let's find out. A manacle is a countable noun, but we usually use it in plural form. Manacles are metal devices attached to a prisoner's wrists or legs in order to prevent him or her from moving or escaping. And synonyms for manacle are the words handcuff, bond, chain, or shackle. A manacle can also be used as a verb, but usually in passive voice. If a prisoner is manacled, their wrists or legs are put in manacles in order to prevent them from moving or escaping. For example, his hands were manacled behind his back, or he was manacled by the police. And the synonyms for manacle as a verb are the words handcuff, bind, confine, and restrain. So the next time you remember this picture of the policeman putting handcuffs in the hands of a criminal or a suspect, remember the word manacle and what it means. And now let's move to the next key word, constrain. You look at the picture and you can see the barbed wire and the fence and the CCTV cameras, and all of that is usually put in a place where you don't want people to get in or out. It could be in a prison or in a place where you don't want people to get in. In either case, you are limiting people's freedom to go in or out of a place. But how does that relate to the word constrain? Let's find out. Constrain is a verb, and to constrain someone or something means to limit their development or force them to behave in a particular way. And this is a formal word, so you don't want to use it in everyday conversation. For example, we use it in a sentence like this one. Many working parents are too often constrained by inflexible working hours. Or the company is constrained to offer salaries that can only attract mediocre staff. And synonyms for constrain are the words restrict, confine, curb, and restrain. And if we add an ed to constrain, it becomes a graded adjective, constrained. For example, we can say, these will be very constrained budgets designed to get the deficit down. And synonyms for constrained are the words forced, reserved, guarded, or inhibited. So the next time you remember this picture of the barbed wire, the fence, and the camera, remember the word constrain and what it means. And now for the next keyword, meteoric. Now you look at the picture and you can see a Bugatti Veyron, and maybe you're not a fan of cars, but a lot of people claim that this is the fastest car in the world, and one of the most expensive too. But how does that relate to meteoric? And you might have heard the word meteor before, which is something in space, and this car is fast, and the meteor is supposed to be fast. So does that have to do with the meaning of the word meteoric? Let's find out. Now, if you use meteoric when you are describing someone's career, you mean that they achieved success very quickly. So it is about speed, but it doesn't have to do with cars only. It could be about a career or rise to fame or something like that. For example, we say his meteoric rise to fame, or his early career had been meteoric. And synonyms for meteoric are the words spectacular, sudden, overnight, and rapid. So the next time you see a Bugatti Veyron or any fast car, remember the word meteoric and what it means. And now for the next keyword, tint. You look at this picture of those beautiful flowers, most probably photoshopped, but the idea that we have all those colors, delicate colors and different shades and tints maybe. So can we use the word tint for colors? But how can we use it to describe colors? Or is it even related to colors? Let's find out. A tint is a countable noun. A tint is a small amount of color. For example, we say its large leaves often show a delicate purple tint, and green has many different shades and tints. Now, synonyms for tint are the words shade, color, tone, and hue. A tint has also a slightly different meaning. If you put a tint on your hair, you dye it a slightly different color. For example, you've had a tint on your hair. And synonyms for this meaning of the word tint are the words dye, wash, stain, or rinse. And tint can also be used as a verb. If something is tinted, it has a small amount of a particular color or dye in it. For example, eyebrows can be tinted with the same dye. Or glass bottles are filled with water tinted with food colorings. And synonyms for tint as a verb are the words dye, color, stain, and rinse. Again, but this time as verbs. And we can use tinted in combining forms. For example, we can say he wore green tinted glasses, or any other color for this matter. So the next time you remember this beautiful image of those roses, remember the word tint and what it means. And now for the next keyword, serene. Now you look at this picture, there is this lady in the middle of the picture, but even she is in the middle of the picture, she's not actually the focus of the image as much as this beautiful landscape we can see. And if there is one thing you can say about this landscape is that it's so peaceful. You can sit there and watch it for hours and days. You will definitely feel relaxed and peaceful. So how is that related to the word serene? Is serene beautiful or peaceful? Let's find out. Now, serene is an adjective, and someone or something that is serene is calm and quiet. For example, she looked as calm and serene as she always did. And synonyms for serene as an adjective are the words calm, peaceful, tranquil, and composed. We can use serenely with an ly as an adverb. For example, we sailed serenely down the river. And the noun from serene is the word serenity. For example, we use it in a sentence like this one. I had a wonderful feeling of peace and serenity when I saw my husband. And synonyms for serenity are the words calm, peace, tranquility, and composure. So the next time you remember this picture of this woman sitting in the middle of nature, looking at this peaceful, beautiful scene, remember the word serene and what it means. And now for the last key word for this chapter, empower. Now we look at this picture, which is a fist actually, made up of a lot of words. Let's take a look at some of these words and figure out if they are related to our word empower. We have the word liberate, to set free, let go, shed like you shed your fears and doubts, step forth. All these words are related to power and control, and especially when you take control of your own life, when you empower maybe somebody or you empower yourself. Who knows? So what does empower mean? Let's find out. Now, empower is a verb. If someone is empowered to do something, they have the authority or power to do it. And we use the verb empower in this meaning in formal contexts. For example, the army is now empowered to operate on a shoot-to-kill basis. And synonyms for this meaning of empower are the words authorize, allow, commission, and qualify. And empower has a slightly different meaning. To empower someone means to give them the means to achieve something. For example, to become stronger or more successful. For example, we can say, helping patients means empowering the professionals to put patients first. Or, what I'm trying to do is to empower people, to give them ways to help them get well. So, the next time you look at this picture of the fist with all these motivational words, remember the word empower and what it means. And that's all about this chapter.